everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 18. It's called The Odyssey of Flight 33. Or for what I go Irish, shall say, Flight 33.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say Dirty Tree.
I'm so sorry. Do you know, I got that from an Irish person, alright? I want to make this very clear. I'd never even heard this. And someone on Twitter, an Irish person on Twitter, mentioned Dirty Tree, and I sort of said it out loud and went, "That is how Irish people say it." And it was like this moment of realization. Dirty Tree. So yes, this is the show. We're going to talk about it. Full spoilers for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Premise of this episode is that a commercial jet traveling to New York. It goes through some weird turbulence and potentially a bit of a, not quite a storm, but some sort of weird anomaly, and ends up traveling into the past. So far into the past, in fact, they may see a dinosaur. So that is the gist of the episode. It's really that simple. So Tara, what did you feel? How did you feel? How did you think? How did you connect and engage with the Odyssey of Flight 33?
This was really strange to me, but I do like it. It's just kind of odd because it doesn't really have an ending. At least it kind of open-ended, which is unusual for the show. And it's but the premise is really, fun. I still enjoyed it, and I liked the little quirky notes from Rod Serling we get at the beginning and end.
I think. Joe, it's funny about you saying that it doesn't have an ending. I think that the reason why it feels that way is because it goes on a minute too long. I think if the moment they realise something is when it cut to Rod Serling, it would just feel like the twist at the end of the episode, and that would be it. But because they sit there and say they're going to try and fix it still, and then it ends, it feels like you've been cut off before the final moment. But in any other episode, it would have just ended a minute sooner, and it would have felt like the ending. It would have felt like the da-da-da, we're still in trouble, and then cut to Serling, cut to credits, whatever. Because I was almost a little disappointed in the ending, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because so what basically happens is they go through a bit of turbulence, they end up in the dinosaur era, right? Because they recognize the island of Manhattan, but like there's no buildings, there's no people. What's going on? Oh wait, there's a dinosaur. Oops, a daisy. Let's fly back through that weird anomaly we went through before and see if we can go back. And they come back, and they eventually, because obviously there's a guy in the radio trying to contact people, air traffic control, and he eventually gets through to someone, and he says what flight it is, and they're like, "Flight what? What type of plane is that?" And I thought, and I genuinely thought the twist was going to be that they traveled too far into the future, and they were going to be like, "Wait, wow, that plane went missing like 100 years ago." Like that's like a famous like fable in like like the air industry.
Sure.
That this plane went missing mysteriously and never showed up.
I thought it was odd that they didn't put it to a vote, like, hey, we're about 30 years behind, 25, 30 years behind. But if we risk going through, we don't know where we'll end up. So do we just say close enough?
Well, because I asked the ending is they end up in, they don't come back to 1960, they come back, or 1961, they come back to 1939 because they recognize the World's Fair below. So
like what, 22 years? Like you'll know the stock market. Like that's an advantage.
Especially given that the first jump set them about 65 million years. Like,
yeah, right.
Are they really feeling confident about pinpointing a 20-year jump, give or take? Like, I don't know.
Right.
There is something funny though if they sort of almost nailed it, but they were just like 1 year off, and like oh, there's going to be a duplicate of everyone running around for a year until they get on a plane. We're going to have to hide, Primer style.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. There's a lot of them, and like so many of them could accidentally kill like their parents or something and cause a paradox. So maybe you don't want to do that.
Yeah,
maybe you don't want to be there at 1939.
There's a scene actually in the middle that's just to give us some context to the passengers of this like British RAF officer talking to this old lady. Well, he's pretty quiet actually. It's the old lady who's talking his head off.
Jab.
But they make a point of him saying like what his station is and where he is, and I thought that was going to play into something later. Like they were going to use like his like position later to confirm something or be aware.
Yeah, they were establishing him as like an expert in something, and never
comes up again. Yeah, so that seems a bit weird. Honestly, my main thought about this episode watching it is like, man, there used to be so many people in a cockpit. Like I feel like
I know there's like 7 of them.
Yeah, the people. So there's the pilot and the co-pilot for me, and then I think there's like 3 or 4 people behind them, right?
Yeah.
And the 3 or 4 people behind them, all of the jobs they're doing, I actually had this realization halfway through the episode. Like, yeah, a computer's replaced all of you. Like,
yeah, there's like a navigator guy. There's someone else who's monitoring speed and stuff. Like,
yeah, all that's just on the dashboard for the pilots now. They don't need any of these people doing all this for them. Your jobs are all defunct.
Yeah, and our pilot is a Star Trek Next Generation.
Here we go.
He plays Kevin Uxbridge in a episode with name I forgot, but it's the episode where Worf pays a compliment of good tea, nice house.
Yes, I do recall.
The most important point of that episode.
I do recall that that episode. It's it's an early season 3 episode, I think, from what I remember. Yeah, just think though, if they stay in 1939, when they actually get back to 1961, if they live through it, he'll actually be the age he is in Star Trek Next Generation. By the time we get back to that time. The ending is a bit weird because they sort of realize they're in 1939 and the captain's like, well, we're going to have to try again, and then it just kind of like fades, and that's what I'm saying, where see if it ended on them realizing they're in 1939 and they didn't come far enough, that would just be the twist ending and that would be the ending, and it wouldn't feel like anything was off about it. But because it goes like an extra minute of this saying we're going to try again, and then Rod Serling just starts narrating, and I was like, wait, so they're just like, we're going to leave on this cliffhanger.
Yeah,
of like...
I do like it though, because his narration like kicks in and I'm like, oh, the episode's over, we're just ending here, we don't see what happens. That's kind of cool, you know, because his narration is like, so if you ever hear jet engines that sound lost in the sky, maybe it's the Flight 33. Like it's kind of a fun little thing, like, hey, like they're obviously going to show up sometime in the future, but we don't know when. Clearly Stephen King thinks it's going to be in the Langoliers' future, which I know you haven't seen.
I've not seen it.
It's a really terrible Stephen King movie.
I mean, most of them are, let's be honest. There's very few. There's a couple of like masterpieces, but most of them suck.
Yeah.
Most of them really do suck.
Yeah, the Langoliers suck. But it did stick with me as a kid watching it, because there was a really evil dad in it, like a flashback scene telling a kid that if he got B's on like a test or something, and he tells him B's are for butts because he wants him to be an A student. It scared me.
And A is for ass, so what's his point?
I don't want to be a butt.
So yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of interesting, like how it handles, like, because the first like almost 10 minutes of the episode, because the ad break, right? Because the ad break, because some episodes of Twilight Zone don't really have a good cliffhanger for the ad break, and we talked about that in the last episode, which was a good episode, but it didn't really have that moment for the ad break. This episode does have that, because the moment is the dinosaur. The moment's when they realize, shit, we've traveled into the past and we're this far in the past.
Yeah, and we get a little like stop motion brontosaurus.
I'll be honest.
Pretty goofy.
I'll be honest. I was expecting it to look worse, so I was actually kind of impressed. I was like, yeah, it's stop motion, but
yeah, for a single TV episode, it's not bad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
super derpy looking.
It's not like I was hearing, dun 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 as they were flying over.
Oh, they couldn't afford even like young John Williams.
Probably not. Although I think John Williams was already doing music at this point. Williams' career.
Probably. He's been around a while.
Yeah, he's man's in his 80s. He's been doing this for a long ass time. So, but the first 10 minutes of the episode is actually them just talking about the fact that the plane's oddly speeding up in a way that they can't explain, and like the pilot feels something's a bit weird here, but like that's pretty much it. There's not much more to it, and they can't really predict what's going on, and they're like, well, we the coordinates are all kind of off. We don't really know where we are. We're flying kind of blind. The radio's not working. All these things, and he's like, well, we're just going to have to go down so we can actually see the landmarks and figure out where we are, and then figure out a plan from there. And they mention some dangers of that they're meant to be at this altitude, and if they go down lower, there's a lot more air traffic. So there's a chance. I mean, it's not like the sky's that full of planes, but there is a chance.
Well, they don't know where they are too. They could fly into a mountain.
Oh, true, yeah. But there is a chance that at this lower altitude there's a lot more air traffic. So even though it's still relatively slim, just because there's not that, I mean, it's not like a highway. There's not that many planes in the sky at any given time, unless you're maybe near an airport where there's a lot of, congestion. But the idea being that there's a risk of death here, but we have to go down and see something just to have a plan. And that's when they see Manhattan and be like, wait a minute, like that's the river, and that's that river, and that's that, like that's that island, but there's no buildings.
Where are the buildings?
Because I actually forgot, funnily enough, because it's funny that the final twist is that they come back to 1939, because I thought I'd forgotten that it was going to be dinosaur times, and I thought it was going to be that they find New York, but there's just certain buildings missing because it's like, the 20s or something like that. So it's actually kind of funny that that's actually quite close to what the ending was, because that's what I was kind of expecting the first time.
Sure.
Because I was expecting to go like, oh, that's New York, but where's the Empire State Building? Like,
I was thinking during the beginning of the episode just how well the dialogue seemed to be about like piloting jargon. And if you look up the trivia, it says that Rod Serling's older brother is actually a pilot, so wrote all the dialogue pieces for it, because it sounded like real jargon. Didn't sound made up like, I don't know, some of the stuff in Star Trek can be.
Yeah. Also, we discovered this episode that the JFK airport used to be called Idlewild.
Yeah.
That's just to me. And it makes sense that the JFK airport wasn't called that in 1961 because he hadn't been assassinated yet. So, yeah, makes sense. My question is who is Mr. Idlewild, and is he upset that his airport got renamed?
I don't know. History has forgotten Idlewild.
I mean, I don't actually think it's a person. I'm just cracking a dumb joke, but maybe it is a person. I don't know. Maybe that's someone's name. I don't know. But he got cut. He got cut from the team. He's no longer on the airport team.
Shucks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, at least if they ever have to rename something like LAX, it's not like that's named after a person. There's no Mr. LAX to get mad that they've renamed it to. I don't know.
Someone will get mad.
They should rename it to Busey Airport when Gary Busey finally passes on from this mortal coil.
Oh, he never will. He's gonna hold on forever.
He lives forever. Busey's never die.
Busey's never die.
Oh god! You know what? It'd just be our luck that like the news story of his death will happen before I post this episode, and we're going to sell complete decks. Because that can happen from time to time. In fact, I mean, we didn't say anything bad, but it did kind of happen with us. We recorded an episode of the Ace starring Max von Sydow, I think, in January, and it was before he passed away. So by the time it went up in April, obviously he passed away.
That's right. Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't say anything, that was like weird because he died.
We talked about how he always looked old.
Yes. I don't feel bad about that. He did always look old, like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you have those weird timing things sometimes, but. Yeah, no, the episode's fun. Like I enjoy them trying to figure it out. I do enjoy the jargon of them trying to problem solve their situation and the potential issues of them even trying to go down. Talking about the fuel running out, because when they realized they were in 1939 and it kept going, I thought they were going to make the choice that we just kind of have to accept it because.
This is as close as we could probably get.
Well, because the way they were talking about the fuel, it sounded like. Did they even have enough to go back up and go through this turbulence again and come back down? No matter whatever their next jump is the last one because they're just going to have to land.
Mm-hmm. What if they ended up back with dinosaurs?
That's true.
Cool.
I don't know. What can they just sort of go into it a little bit and come back down immediately? Do they have to go through this? Maybe that's how they time it. They just sort of just nudge it forward. It's got all
Maybe it depends on how much fuel they have.
It's got all the precision of when you used to rewind or fast forward a videotape. Not when it was on, because you could do it when you were watching it and you could still see what was happening. No, when you had it off for the fast version of fast forward or rewind.
You just had to feel it.
Yeah, you had to just feel the time.
It's truly flying by the seat of your pants. That's where it comes from. Obviously, a VCR recording. Yeah.
And not planes. Yes. Yeah, I don't miss that about VCRs. I'll tell you that much. I don't miss having to rewind and fast forward. Don't miss that at all. All right. Nope. I mean, I feel like we've actually kind of talked about all we want to talk about with the episode, but it is good. It's just it's quite simple. It's really quite simple. It's our process. You know, I mean, like I say, I do like all the technical stuff. I like them checking the engines. Even though it did feel kind of like I've watched so many movies like in spaceships and stuff where the captain will say, you know, check the damage. You know, even if it's something like Star Trek. And in this, when he says check the damage, it's all four of them just literally looking out the window, check the engines. Like,
I think they said, yeah, make sure the wings are still there.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a good time to check. Yeah. And I'm like, do you have like a rear view mirror or something on a plane? Is that not? Is that not a thing?
Yeah. No, I guess not.
I guess not.
I imagine there's something on the sides for mirrors.
Yes, you would hope so. I feel like, I mean, I get that, you know, it's not like a car where you're expecting a lot of traffic coming up behind you, so it's not as as necessary.
No, but like to literally like check the engines. Yeah.
Yeah, to check the engines are still there. That's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
See, it's easy in a car because they're right in front of you. You can see, you know, if that part of the car was missing, you would notice it. Barring a couple of weird models that have it at the back, but let's not talk about them. That's your hipster
Porsche.
car.
I think we're done. But next week we get Burgess Meredith.
We do, yeah. He comes in at the end and talks about basically, and I actually vaguely remember this because I was like, oh, Burgess Meredith's another episode, but then he mentioned what the premise was. I'm like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember him getting super strength. I remember this being a thing. The episode's called Mr. Dingle the Strong.
Good name.
Yeah, sure. A timid vacuum cleaner salesman is given the strength of 300 men by some experimenting aliens.
All right.
I mean, I'm in. I'm obviously in. Do you know what? I'll give them credit. The little tease here with Rod Serling at the end actually had a special effect on its own. They had like a prop or a trick clock, because the alarm rings on this clock, and he goes to like hit it to turn it off, and it just crushes the clock. And I went, they actually did this a little effect just for this little tease. I appreciate that.
I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
It's a cute moment.
I wonder if we're going to see that exact same thing in the episode, and the reason why they did it is because they had like 3 or 4 of them set up, and they already got their take. So like, hey, we've got an extra one here. You can use it.
Okay, yeah. Let's make Rod, the strong Mr. Dingle.
Oh dear. So yeah, looking forward to the next one. We'll see how that is. So I don't know. I'll prepare some Rocky jokes or something since we got Burgess Meredith back. But
I know, right?
Yeah, so that is
I'm done.
You couldn't even wait till next episode when it was more relevant. You had to just go straight for
it. Oh, it'll come back. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I'm a super fan.
That is episode 18 of Twilight Zone season 2. We're actually over halfway, believe it or not. Especially, I mean, we technically would be by this point, but season 2 is actually a little bit shorter at 29 episodes. So we're getting there. We're 2/3 even.
How about that?
Yeah. So we're getting there. For those keeping track, we're halfway through disc 3 of the Blu-ray set. There's only 4 discs in season 2, so.
Whoa.
I know. We're getting there. But we still have, what, 2?
We know how to commit.
We have 2 videotape episodes left still to go, I think. Or is it 3? I think it's 2.
Oh, the dreaded videotape.
I know. I'm concerned. Doesn't look like the next one's one of them, though, so that's good news. So yeah, let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Liking is really important on YouTube. It lets the algorithm know that you think we're worth recommending out to people, so YouTube will recommend us to people. So please do that. You can support us on Patreon. Tara will tell you all about that.
Why, yes, Peter. If you enjoy the channel, you like what we do, and you would like to support us, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/nonfuzztv. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you will get bonus episodes of other shows we do here, including the Ace the Atomic Cinema Experiment, which is our science fiction movie review, and Screams After Midnight, which I don't do, but Peter does with a different host. So if you like horror movies, you'll get bonus episodes of those, and those tend to be top quality. Yeah, if you feel like donating $5, you'll get these episodes of The Twilight Zone 1 week early. And you'll get voting rights for other shows we do on the channel. Huh?
There was, it was not bad. There's definitely some there was a lot of pauses where you were clearly thinking of the next thing you were supposed to say, but other than that, it was solid.
I thought the captain kind of had moments like that too. I think because the jargon was actually like real pilot jargon. Like he had a couple of moments in this episode where he had to make sure he got it right.
Sure, yeah. I don't imagine the shooting schedule on these episodes was that forgiving. They probably had to get it all done quite quickly, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Way to go, Kevin. That's his Star Trek name.
That's just, yeah, I think they just got that.
Like, can you imagine having a futuristic alien being that's omni-powerful and has the ability to wipe out an entire race by thinking about it, named Kevin? So bizarre.
On that note, our condolences to Kevins everywhere. But thank you for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching television, guys, in the Twilight Zone.